Hi, how are you?
I'm good. A little bit, anxious about doing this, but I've been a filmmaker for a long time, Vic, haven't I?
Yes, you
So,
have.
and this was the biggest investment and the biggest step up in camera. So I thought, people might have some questions that are just starting out, or professionals that are looking at the PYXIS 12K. So,
Excellent. Well,
ready when you
have
are.
some
Sorry.
questions for you. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
What did it feel like pressing record on the PYXIS 12K for the first time?
So press and record on the PYXIS 12K for the first time was stressful because I went to a professional gig and I didn't have the right hardware. And what I mean by that is I didn't have the right drive, the variable ND, which is on the camera now, I didn't have it available. So it was a complete failure. I had literally two frames before it stopped recording. So you have to, when you buy a better camera, you have to buy better drives. Thankfully, luckily, I've got two of those. So
Excellent. And what made you decide it was finally time to upgrade, apart from that niggling feeling?
well, upgrading with life's expenses and how life is, it's tricky because I shot a documentary feature a couple of years ago, and it's still in festivals, queer in Blackpool, and that was 6K. It had internal ND, so you didn't have to worry about a piece of glass. So it was like, do I need to get this? But the image and the sensor and what I was getting out of it, and the joy I got from the second shot I did a couple of days ago for the first time, gave me like kind of goosebumps for the first time in many years. So it's quite exciting.
Wow. So when you were making that decision, were you feeling excited or terrified?
Terrified, excited, and if I was flush with money, then it would be the terrifying part wouldn't be part of it. But as soon as I turned it on and heard the fan and the foibles of a big step up in industry camera, it was like time to put your big boy pants on.
And did you ever think you'd own a camera like this?
Not really, because I kind of worked out what I could afford over the next couple of years for a camera. I always kind of dreamed of a camera like this. It's the step up from my Pocket 6K Pro, and it's a bit of a dream, and it's scary because when you make a big investment, it's it's like get the work and all of that. But as soon as I started recording, I thought, oh my god, this is a little bit of a glimpse of what it could be.
So here's a question for you. If the version of you making films in 2005 could see this setup, what would he say?
What is that alien technology? Pretty much, because I was using a mini DV camcorder at that point. In 2005, was that what you asked?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2005, I was a fledgling filmmaker at that point, and I was at university, my second year, and I was still using mini DV tapes to, the uninitiated. It's a little tape you put in, and it would fall apart very easily. So it's like alien technology. That's how I would see it.
So when you think of this camera, what's the biggest thing that it represents beyond image quality?
Upon reflection, the thing that's bigger than the kind of just the image quality is where I've come, how far I've kind of developed. And I wouldn't just get this for like willy-nilly shooting, like many people shoot around the garden, that's all you really do, and you just talk about the tech. I bought this to make film, and it's a huge undertaking for me personally. Like, I know how to light, I know how to record audio. Hopefully this audio is good because I've mic'd myself. But it's a tricky one. I think that's kind of a question I can answer over the next few years.
Great. So let's go to that first day when you had the camera, reality kind of sits in.
Yeah.
On that first day, what was the very first thing that you filmed?
It was a portrait shot for my friend Ian Rayburn's film of an actress called Rachel, and she was all smiley, sunshine. She was looking summery. She got these kind of epic Nigel Mansell eyebrows. Thought, yeah, brilliant. That's a compliment. That's a compliment to Rachel, and it was exciting. Yeah.
And what surprised you most about it?
The image, because I'm used to shooting Super 35 cameras, and to filmmakers, that's like a industry standard. but then going up to full frame it's a different look, it's a different feel.
What, if any, mistakes did you make straight away?
Not having the variable ND and not having a drive fast enough to record at any level on this camera.
Well, what settings caught you out?
Settings that caught me out, so I'll talk about that a little bit, is if you don't have a variable ND, which is like sunglasses for your camera, and which you can change to different degrees, like sunshine, which is changing now, that caught me out. So what you have to do is change another setting in the camera, but then the motion blur and everything looks off. So I abandoned that, drove home, got what I needed, and came back.
What did you expect to love that you didn't?
What I didn't expect to love that I didn't love. Fan noise and the battery capacity. So this is like driving a Hummer in terms of fuel consumption, and thankfully I've got the professional batteries V-mount, which are on this camera now, and I've got this CG Cine adapter thing, so I can use two at once.
And next question is, what feature instantly impressed you?
Being able to press record, and if you're doing wildlife, or I was just doing a shot of my dog a moment ago, being able to press record and it's already recorded the last minute before you've pressed record, pre-record it's called. Sony cameras have had this for years, and that feature, I might not use it too often, but having it baked in is pretty special.
And did you feel slower or faster using it?
Slower initially, because it's like taking a bomb apart or putting one together, because it's, you know, big, heavy, you don't want to scratch it, you want to be precious. But you know, after a few months I think that'll change. Still look after my camera gear, but just kind of take the edge off a bit.
Was there a moment where you thought, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, as soon as I pressed purchase. So sorry, I should answer that with a question in it. So as soon as I pressed purchase on the order, it was like gulp, right, got to pay for this now. But I know I can. So I shouldn't have to worry about that.
Was there anything unexpected or harder than expected?
I think something that I expect to be harder going down the line is making sure I'm aware of the limitations, like, you know, making sure I've got enough batteries on charge. So that I think that kind of, I can answer that in a few months' time, I think.
And what footage made you smile when you reviewed it back?
Those drop frames. So as soon as I pressed record, and it was like a disaster of a very first shot. The frame, she was smiling, the sunshine, the shot looked amazing, and that was 2 frames. But they're usable for marketing and that kind of thing, so I don't just throw something away that's a nightmare. You kind of get something from it.
So we're going to touch on a new topic. So it's you as the filmmaker. So what does upgrading, why does it matter, and why doesn't it matter?
Upgrading matters if you want to do something different and level up. You can make an iPhone movie. There's award-winning, Oscar-nominated films that are completely shot on an iPhone. But I want a better image. I don't just want a CRT TV forever. I want the OLED, you know. So the equivalent of that is being able to just do something else, do something special, because it's my full-time occupation as well.
And would this camera, do you think it would this camera have made your first short films better?
1,000 times. Yeah, this camera would have made my first few short films at university a lot better. So I started filmmaking in 2001, but I really started making shorts and everything at university in 2005. And I was shooting on mini DV tapes, and the image was, as soon as you tried to color grade it, sorry I was burping then, it would fall apart. So this would just do it blind, basically.
What would you say to the younger filmmaker Alex about what you know now that you didn't know then? Any particular thing?
So the advice I would give my kind of younger self, or younger filmmakers, I sound old saying that, is patience and perseverance. You know, practice framing, record with friends, get a group of friends that would help you out, because it, like, you know, they say take a village. as soon as I try and film something that's a bit more, involved, you need more people. So get friends around you that are into the same things.
You've already touched on, the slight anxiety about buying professional gear. Have you ever felt imposter syndrome?
I feel imposter syndrome every single time I go for a shoot. Not on the day, a few days before, because I'm like, what am I doing? Can I do this? Things I've done 1,000 times, almost, anything outside my regular comfort zone, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? But I've done it before. So just, if I could lose that anxiety, I'd be a superhero.
Here's a question. Do better cameras make better filmmakers?
No, this is like people that buy a brand new set of golf clubs and have never played. It doesn't make any difference. You can shoot with an iPhone or an Arri Alexa 65 or something like that. It really doesn't matter. You've got to practice. Otherwise, it's going to look like absolute rubbish.
What skills do you think matter more than owning a 12K cinema camera?
Biggest thing, and I don't have this at all, and I wish I did, and I've got friends that can, is I wish I could write. So writing, storytelling, that'll be, that'll be the trifecta. So I could be a rubbish filmmaker, but if I had great writing, the visuals kind of come second.
So I'd like to go a little deeper now. What sacrifices led to getting here?
Financial sacrifices. So the sacrifices is, that's a bigger thing. So it's sacrificing time with other people. That's a bigger question, and I probably need more time to think about that.
Okay, well, let's have another heavy hitter.
Yeah.
What have 20 plus years of filmmaking taught you that applies here?
So in regards to my 20 years of experience is just go out and shoot, don't be afraid.
Excellent. So let's take a little bit of a change of direction. Should people rush to upgrade?
Never. You should never rush to upgrade, because if you're not making anything and you're constantly buying cameras, like there's filmmakers that post on YouTube and they're just reviewing camera gear and you never see their work. You should be making things. I try and make things all the time, and because I potentially have ADHD, I go into this weird vortex of imposter syndrome. I can't make this, I can make this. Gear's never been an issue, even in 20 years ago. So it's, always be closing, always be filming, basically.
And who would you say is this camera actually for?
I would say this is to professionals, really, because not just because of the expense, which I've kind of harped on about quite a bit, that want to see something really special. So one thing I'll say to that is, when I increase the exposure on this, the image looks incredible, and even the noise looks amazing, which is extremely rare.
Who do you think shouldn't buy this?
I don't think anyone starting out should buy this. If you can afford to buy this when you start out, then you've got more money than I could ever dream of. So I won't deny anyone having the opportunity to shoot on something like this, but yeah, it's a tricky one, really. I would say progression with camera stuff is slow.
So leading on from that, if someone is developing as a filmmaker right now, what should they focus on first?
I would focus on writing a story, writing a short film, even if it's 30 seconds or a minute. If you can write something, everything else is secondary.
What's the one thing you think you'd do differently on day one?
The one thing I would do differently on day one is probably even before day one, if I can change it slightly. Preparation, making sure everyone's on the same page, making everyone sure is happy. I've been on film sets, short films, feature films, where people have not been happy being there, and if you've got miserable people and they're distracted on their iPhones or something like that, then you have to manage that, and you don't want that.
What advice would you give someone watching this with regards to a smaller camera?
The advice I give to someone with a smaller camera: make sure you've got enough record time, that your audio is amazing. So if you're shooting on an iPhone or even a mini DV camcorder, don't worry about the dog, she's fine, is making sure you've got great audio.
Okay, so what do you hope this camera helps you create?
Beautiful. I want this camera to help me create even more beautiful images.
And what projects are you most excited to shoot?
Well, my partner in crime, Vicky, she's yourself. We're making a short film, and hopefully, or we will be shooting that together. And that's gonna make it even more special than it's already going to be.
That's great. And 5 years from now, what do you hope this upgrade will lead to?
Hopefully, in 5 years' time, hopefully this gets me more paid work. Yeah.
Okay, direct to the point. What does filmmaking mean to you now?
Filmmaking now means excitement, storytelling, eliciting a response from someone, making a comedy. If I can make any type of film, it'd be horror, obviously, but secondary would be a comedy, because making someone laugh is probably the greatest thing you could possibly do.
So let's take a moment, let's go back to 2005. If filmmaker Alex walked in today, what would you want him to know?
So if the 2005 version of myself walked in today saying, don't give up, never surrender. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you so much.
Oh, cheers Vicky.
Cheers.
Hopefully this has helped you guys and girls make a decision on the camera. I've shot on the 12K in a 9K mode because I'm using a Super 35 lens. Don't know why I needed to add that, but like and subscribe if you can, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.